Hello. 1 week ago today, a man's life was brutally ended. His life was not ended for any crime he had committed, but rather for the simple fact that he dared to express his opinions and ideas publicly. America claims to be a country where one can do as he did and share one's ideas freely without fear of death. This principle was tested last week, and we failed in that test. This man never called for the direct physical harm of any person or group, and even though he may have disagreed with certain people's choice of lifestyle or morals, he was always willing to engage and debate them openly. He always did so in a respectful manner, never using belittling language or abusive rhetoric. Yet with all of that in his favor, he was still hated. He was despised, he was loathed, and eventually all of that resentment and hatred led to the unfortunate and tragic events that occurred 1 week ago today. The First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is one of free speech. So important that it was the primary rule that we set forth for ourselves, the one principle that we set before all the others. It reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Our founders knew the right to free speech had to come first, for if we cannot sit down and talk amongst ourselves when we disagree, there is no chance of reconciliation. There is no chance of a coming together to learn from one another. There is no chance for an exchange of ideas in good faith. We cannot continue like this. If we are to be a country of ideas where men can talk freely as we claim to be, then the violence needs to end, both from one side of the aisle and the other. Both parties are complicit in this violence. This is not a one-sided issue where one party takes all the blame. This is a problem that exists on both sides of the political spectrum at the extremes. It is only in the middle, when we can cross the aisle in good faith, without abusive language, and with mutual respect for one another's ideas, that we can truly come together as a country. Some say he was a good man, some say he was not. Whether he was good or evil is not the point of discussion. The subject of discussion here and now, at this point in time, is America still a country where we can talk to each other without fear of violence? It was once, but I fear that is not the case anymore. However, we still must make the attempt. This man left a legacy, a great legacy, a legacy of incredible influence. Whether you agree with him or not, his reach cannot be disputed. We saw in the 7 days since his passing how many lives he had touched for good or for ill. If this influence is a net positive or a net negative for society, it is not my place to say. All I know is that those lives were affected by his words. And they were affected by his words because he had the courage to speak them publicly in the town square of freedom of expression. And now his chair is empty. He will not visit college campuses anymore. He will not spread his ideas on social media. He has dropped the microphone and someone must take it up. I am reminded of an episode of an old British sci-fi show where the hero is faced with the dilemma of two parties who refuse to put down their arms. They are determined to reach a state of mutual destruction. The hero set before them two boxes, each box containing two buttons, and neither knows what the buttons will do. He says to them, when you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's going to die. You don't know whose children are going to scream and burn, how many hearts will be broken, how many lives shattered, how much blood will spill until everyone does what they are always going to have to do from the very beginning. Sit down and talk. Now the first shot has been fired, but hopefully it will be the last. Because as that hero said, war must end. We have to sit down and talk to one another. And that is what this man did. He sat down politely with respect and spoke. Some listened and some did not. Some engaged in good faith, others did not. However, his hand was always open, and he never turned away anyone who approached him in good faith. So now the chair must be filled, the microphone must be taken up. We cannot claim to be a country of freedom of speech if when we disagree with someone, we take up arms and end them. When you end someone's life because you do not like what they have to say, you are admitting that you have no argument to refute them. You have no words, no ideas that can combat them. All you have left is your fist. We need to become a country of words once more, not of weapons, of words, of civil discourse, the mutual exchange of ideas and respect to one another. Therefore, I am picking up the microphone, as I'm sure many others are doing around the country and even around the world. In London, the streets were packed with close to 1 million human souls. Also in Korea, Africa, Australia, his influence is being felt. And here in America, people stood up to pick up the microphone, to sit in the chair and say to the cowards who would rather use weapons than words, no, this cannot go on. You fired the first shot, and we would be well justified to fire back. Instead, we are going to sit down in that empty chair, and like that man before us, hold out an open hand and say, sit, speak with us, express your ideas, and we will listen, and we will express ours, and we hope that you can listen as well. That is why I'm starting this YouTube channel, to express my opinions, my ideals, and my own way of thinking, and I hope that people will listen. And in the comment section down below, express their own ideas. I hope they find others who will talk and will listen with respect and civility. As much as lies within me, I will never censor anyone in my comment section or on my social media pages unless you call for the direct physical harm of another person or group of persons. As far as the YouTube algorithm goes and shadow censoring, I have no control over this. The people in power do. And unfortunately, these people in power are afraid. They are afraid of a population who sits down and speaks with one another. Because that civilian population, which is capable of polite and respectful discourse amongst themselves, is a threat. A civilization that can rationally sit down and calmly reason out their differences and their goals and their ideals are unified. They're unified by that simple fact that they can sit down and speak with one another, even if they disagree. And when they do that, it is far easier to spot the enemy, the one who does not sit down at the table. It is far easier to spot one instead of a crowd. If people in power can keep the American population from sitting down and discussing things, if they can keep us fighting amongst ourselves, we will never get anything accomplished. And those in power who seek to abuse their power for their own personal gain will find us far more easy to manipulate and to direct on a path that they have set out for us rather than one we have determined for ourselves. Again, I reiterate, I personally will never censor anyone unless they call for the direct physical harm of another person or group of persons. That is where the line is drawn. When you use your voice to encourage others to lash out, to strike down, and to hurt other people, when you would rather use weapons instead of words. We are a people divided, left and right, red and blue, but we used to be one people. It didn't matter if you were on this side of the aisle or the other, you were still an American. You were an American because you were free to speak your mind, without fear of dying simply because you spoke your mind. And perhaps one day we can be that again, but only if the microphone is picked up and the seat is filled. And only if we are always willing to listen to opposing ideas and then express our own calmly, civilly, and above all, with an open heart and an open mind. I do not know where this journey is going to lead me. I'm still raw and shocked over what I saw, but I am hopeful. Perhaps foolishly so. But I am hopeful for the future. I will endeavor to upload once a week, and I pray that this small bastion of the internet becomes a place where people from both sides of the aisle, from all walks of life, can sit down and respectfully talk to one another. This has been the CDC, the Civil Discourse Center, signing off for the first time. Be well. Stay safe. Speak strong. And God bless America.
This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us, when good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day.